Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mindful Minutes, the podcast where we slow down just enough to question how modern businesses are actually growing. I'm your host, Tanay Sarpotdar, and today we are talking more about sales and marketing collaboration. Let me start by saying if you're building or scaling an SMB today, you've probably been told some version of this: generate more leads, build more pipelines, run more campaigns. But here's what I've learned working closely with founders and GTM teams. Most companies are not struggling because they lack activity. They're probably struggling because they lack clarity on what their activity is actually teaching them. So today, I want to explore a simple but powerful shift. What if growth wasn't driven by leads? Wasn't driven by more leads, but by how well your system learns from every single conversation. That's our topic today. From leads to signal. Why is your GTM probably not learning? And how do we fix this? Here's another uncomfortable question. Your company generated maybe 300, 400, 500 leads last quarter. How much smarter is your marketing today because of those 500 leads? Not busier, not more dashboards. What we're looking for is smarter. And if your honest answer is not much, then you don't have a demand gen problem. You have a learning system failure. That is what I think. The real problem is more or less not leads, not sales. It's on because more SMBs are obsessed with inputs, more campaigns, more leads, more outreach, and nobody is asking, what did we learn from the last 10 conversations? Probably this is where everything breaks. I think, why don't we introspect and think, maybe this is happening inside your company. Marketing is generating entries, like we discussed earlier. Sales is having conversations, and business is capturing. But almost nothing is usable. Let's simplify this. A lead is a record in your CRM. A signal is a piece of decision intelligence. For example, when somebody downloads a white paper or a case study or any content offer, it's considered a lead. When somebody is comparing you with ex-competitor and is worried about some implementation risk, it's a signal. The first one is a metric, the other one is a strategy. And right now, most marketing teams are optimizing for leads. Your growth, I think, would come from how well you capture, structure, and act on signals, not just metrics. Now, here's the honest reason why most of the time these things break, especially in SMBs, where processes are still being built up or clearly understood and implemented. Let me get this straight. Sales teams are not lazy. They're not incentivized for document intelligence, right? And marketing teams are not clueless. They just don't know what to extract. So what happens is sales puts probably vague notes, marketing runs another campaign, and leadership asks for more pipeline. Bottom line, the loop never closes. What does a real system or a signal system should look like? How do we make it practical? So if you're a marketing manager listening to this is where your role changes. Your job is not to just support sales. Your job is to design a signal extraction system. And it has, let's say, 4 simple layers. We can make it into 3, but for easier context, let's make it into a 4 layered context. The first is an input context. This probably starts even before sales. So before a lead reaches sales, marketing must attach context, which is campaign source, key content consumed, stated problem, if any. If along this, sales is not aligned with this, then sales starts blind and you've already lost intelligence. That's your input context layer. That's your layer 1. Layer 2 is, so layer 1 is usually covered for most process driven environments, but if not, then that is very important. Second is a structured interaction capture. It's not just free text notes. This is where most teams fail. So we have to stop relying on just saying spoke to client, seems interested, and replace it with structured inputs like probably a primary objection. It could be a drop down list. It could also have the list of competitors, again in a drop down. Buyer stage, probably stated as early, evaluating, or in decision making phases. Deal risk, probably the reason could be price, trust, feature, or timing. And we don't need essays, no storytelling, just a structured set, repeatable inputs so that we can build on and create intelligence around it or pattern. Which brings me to the next layer, which is pattern extraction. Now, here's the part nobody is doing or nobody does usually. You don't read notes, you just look for patterns at scale. For example, 36% of your deals could have price sensitivity, 22% probably have feature gap, another 18% are focusing on wrong ICP. Now, when you attach these percentages, you're not guessing anymore. Now you're seeing your market clearly. That's what we have to try and build up. It starts with marketing, building it up, sharing with sales, and then it becomes a much more collaborated effort. The layer 4 is where marketing actually becomes strategic. So from now and only now, marketing can start intelligently saying, if price sensitivity was high, then I have to fix value narrative. If a wrong ICP percentage is high, I have to fix targeting. If feature gap is recurring, I need to feed in product info more and probably reposition myself maybe. So that makes marketing stop being just a creative support and becomes a revenue function, which is what we wanted to do. Now, to make it even more or to emphasize it, let me say this clearly as possible. Your campaigns are not improving based on sales conversations. You're not doing marketing. You're just running activities. Because real marketing is not about generating demand. It's about understanding demand better than anyone else in the company. That's what we have to aim for. And what changes when you get this right is when you build a system, 3 things you can easily notice. The first thing, lead quality improves because targeting now sharpens. Conversion improves because objections are pre-handled. And you build a lot more trust with your sales because marketing finally gets it. Ideally, that's what it's always the discussion. And certainly your alignment is no longer a problem because both teams are operating on the same intelligence, which is what we always wanted, right? So on that note, let me leave you with this. If every business is generating signals, every sales conversation is revealing something about your market, the question is, are you capturing that intelligence or are you letting it disappear after every call? So this becomes a collab effort with sales and marketing. If your system is not learning, your growth is not compounding naturally. And in today's market, non-compounding growth is just a slower way of falling behind. So, all in all, if this episode made you pause and rethink how your sales and marketing actually work together, that's the exact point of Mindful Minutes. In the next episode of this Fractional CMO series, collab between sales and marketing, we'll go deeper into something most teams think they're doing right, but probably aren't. The topic is deal dispositions. And no, we're not just tracking outcomes, but we try and design a system where every lost deal sharpens your strategy. So until then, stay curious, stay strategic, and most importantly, don't just generate demand, learn from it. So long, until the next episode. Have a wonderful time. Bye bye.